See, when love is right, it flows both ways. You don't have to pull, drag, or convince somebody to want you. Real love meets you where you are. It pours into you the same way you pour into it. But the moment you start running after someone who ain't even looking back at you, you're setting yourself up for pain. Let me break it down. If they're not calling, if they're not showing up, if they're not matching your energy, stop wasting your time. Because while you're busy chasing them, you're blocking the person who's out there praying for someone exactly like you. God doesn't want you stuck begging for scraps of affection. He wants you with somebody who values your heart, your loyalty, your effort. And let me be real. When you stop chasing, when you step back and take your power back, you'll see the truth. The right one won't let you chase them because they'll be too busy running towards you. So stop chasing love that doesn't chase you back. Respect yourself enough to know your worth and trust that the love you deserve, the love that's mutual, consistent, and real is out there waiting for you. Love is not supposed to be a one-man show where you're out there doing all the work just to keep it alive. It's not supposed to feel like you're pushing a car uphill by yourself while the other person is sitting in the back seat enjoying the ride. Real love is a two-way street. It should flow both ways. When one person is pouring everything into the relationship, time, energy, effort, sacrifice, while the other person is barely lifting a finger, that's not love, that's a burden. And too many people confuse fighting for someone with loving someone. There's a difference. Fighting for someone means you're both in the ring together, swinging at life, protecting each other, lifting each other up. But struggling for someone, carrying all the weight, constantly proving your worth, constantly begging them to see you. That's just pain disguised as love. The truth is, when love is real, you don't have to force it, you don't have to chase it, and you don't have to convince anybody to give it back to you. Real love flows back to you naturally. If you give respect, you should get respect. If you give loyalty, you should get loyalty. If you give affection, you should receive affection. Anything less than that is imbalance, and imbalance will drain you faster than anything else. You'll wake up one day and wonder why you're so tired, why you feel empty, why you don't feel loved. It's because you've been pouring from a cup that never gets refilled. When someone values you, you don't have to question their intentions. You don't have to check their phone or beg them to text you back. You don't have to wonder if they're really into you. They'll show it with consistency, with effort, with action. That's how you know love is flowing both ways. It's not just words, it's not just empty promises, it's action. But when it's one-sided, when you're the only one keeping it alive, you'll notice something else. You start to lose yourself. You start to shrink. You start to settle. You start to believe maybe this is all you're worth. And that's the dangerous part. You can't let one-sided love trick you into thinking you're not enough. You are enough. You are worthy of someone who looks at you and says, I'm going to match your energy. I'm going to meet you halfway. I'm going to pour into you just like you pour into me. That's real partnership. That's real love. Don't ever let yourself believe that carrying the whole relationship is what love is supposed to look like. Because when love flows both ways, you don't feel drained, you feel alive. You don't feel small. You feel seen. You don't feel unworthy. You feel chosen. And that's the kind of love everybody deserves, the kind of love God wants you to have, the kind of love you should never settle less for. When you stop chasing love that doesn't chase you back, something powerful happens. You start to get your dignity back. Because let's be real, nothing strips your dignity faster than running after somebody who's showing you every day that they don't care the way you do. You're blowing up their phone and they're leaving you on read. You're trying to plan a future and they can't even commit to the weekend. You're making sacrifices and they're making excuses. That's not love. That's humiliation disguised as hope. Every time you chase someone who's not chasing you, you're telling yourself, I'm not enough to be chosen. But that's a lie. The truth is, you are more than enough, but you're trying to prove it to the wrong person. See, when you stop running after people who don't value you, you take back your power. You tell the world, I know what I'm worth, and I refuse to sell myself short. And that's when you begin to attract the right kind of love, the love that doesn't need to be chased, the love that shows up, the love that's consistent. But as long as you're out there trying to convince someone to see your value, you're wasting all that energy that should be invested in yourself. That's why so many people are drained. They're out there running a marathon for someone who's not even watching the race. You got to understand something. If a person wants to be in your life, you won't have to beg them, bribe them, or bend yourself out of shape just to keep them. They will show up because they want to, not because you force them. And here's the thing, love that comes willingly will always feel better than love that has to be chased. One makes you feel secure, the other makes you feel desperate. Which one do you really want? So stop chasing and start choosing. Choose peace, choose dignity, choose self-respect. Because when you stop chasing, you start attracting. And the right one, the one God has for you, won't need to be convinced to stay. They'll stay because they see your value, and they'll match your effort because they understand your worth. That's the love you deserve, and you'll never find it as long as you're out there running after someone who was never meant to be yours in the first place. One of the hardest truths people have to accept in relationships is this. When somebody really wants to be in your life, you don't have to put on a performance to keep them there. You don't have to constantly worry if you're saying the right thing, dressing the right way, or doing enough to hold their attention. Real love doesn't make you walk on eggshells. Real love doesn't put you on trial every single day. When someone's heart is truly invested in you, they don't need convincing, they don't need chasing, and they don't need proof over and over again that you're good enough. They already see it. They already know it. Too many people waste years trying to become a version of themselves they think will finally earn someone's approval. They lose their identity trying to please somebody who's not even appreciative of the effort. You bend yourself out of shape. You make sacrifices they never asked for. You swallow your pride to avoid arguments, and you compromise your standards because you think maybe, just maybe, they'll see your worth if you give a little more. But here's the reality. If they didn't see your worth before all that, they're not going to magically see it after you've drained yourself. That's because value isn't proven, it's recognized. You should never have to beg someone to choose you. Love isn't about desperation, it's about connection. If you find yourself constantly pleading for someone's time, their attention, their respect, or their love, then you're not in a relationship, you're in a negotiation. And negotiations eventually leave somebody feeling cheated. Begging for love turns you into an employee working overtime to keep a job you were never hired for in the first place. A real partner doesn't make you fight for scraps. They pull up a chair and share the whole meal. Now, don't get me wrong, every relationship takes work. But there's a big difference between working on a relationship and working for a relationship that only one person cares about. When love is mutual, both people show up. Both people put in the effort. Both people lean in. But when it's one-sided, it feels like you're carrying the weight of two hearts on your back, and that's not sustainable. So here's the bottom line. Stop twisting yourself into knots trying to keep someone who clearly doesn't want to stay. You don't have to bribe somebody with your time, your body, your money, or your energy to get them to notice you. The right one won't need persuading. They'll be present because they want to, because they value you, and because they see what you bring to the table without you having to beg for recognition. The love that is meant for you will never require you to shrink, to chase, or to compromise your self-worth. This is one of those lessons in life that stings when you finally see it clearly, most of the time. People don't treat you a certain way just because that's who they are. They treat you that way because you've allowed it. What you tolerate, you train. Every time you let something slide, every time you say, it's okay, when it really isn't, you're sending a silent message that says, this is acceptable behavior. And trust me, people pick up on that. They may not say it out loud, but in their mind they think, oh, she didn't check me when I disrespected her. He didn't walk away when I took advantage of him. Maybe I can get away with it again. Relationships are a mirror of your standards. If you keep accepting less than what you know you deserve, that becomes your reality. And here's the kicker. Most people won't suddenly wake up and start treating you better out of guilt. If anything, they'll keep pushing further because you've already shown them you'll forgive it. That's why so many folks find themselves in cycles of being disrespected, ignored, or undervalued. It's not always because their partner is evil. It's because their partner has learned there are no real consequences. Now, let me be clear, forgiveness is powerful. But forgiveness without boundaries is self-destruction. If you keep forgiving the same disrespect over and over, that's no longer forgiveness, that's permission. And once you've given someone permission to mistreat you, they'll keep doing it until you decide enough is enough. Love without standards isn't love, it's captivity. The truth is, you have to set the tone in your relationship. If you demand respect, people will either rise to meet that standard or fall out of your life. If you demand consistency, they'll either show up or they'll reveal they're not capable of showing up. Either way, you'll get your answer. But you'll never get the answer if you keep excusing bad behavior just to avoid confrontation or out of fear of being alone. And let me tell you this, loneliness with peace is always better than company with chaos. Because the longer you accept less, the longer you delay the love you actually deserve. Every time you keep forgiving someone who's not even trying to change, you're not only teaching them how to treat you, you're teaching yourself to settle. So here's the challenge. Start raising the price of admission to your heart. Not everybody deserves front row seats in your life. If someone wants to be there, make sure they've earned the ticket with respect, effort, and love. If they can't give you that, then don't keep handing out free passes. The right person will never need to be convinced to treat you well. They'll treat you well because they value you, because they see your worth, and because they know you won't accept anything less. Most people grow up thinking that walking away from a relationship means they've failed. Society tells us, if you leave, you didn't fight hard enough. If you give up, you didn't love enough. But let me flip that for you sometimes. Walking away is the bravest, strongest, most loving thing you can do for yourself. Because love should never come at the cost of your dignity, your peace, or your worth. Here's what I've learned. Staying in a situation where you're constantly undervalued, disrespected, or ignored doesn't make you loyal. It makes you a prisoner. You can love somebody deeply and still know they're not good for your spirit. You can want them to change, but realize their growth is not your responsibility. And that moment when you decide, I deserve better than this, that's not weakness, that's power. That's the moment you start taking your life back. Walking away doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you cared enough about yourself not to stay where you were shrinking. It means you finally stopped begging someone for the kind of love you were willing to give freely. It means you recognize that love is a two-way street, and if you're the only one doing the driving, eventually you'll run out of gas. Choosing yourself is the only way to refill that tank. And let's be real, it's not easy. Walking away from someone you love can feel like tearing your own heart out. You replay the memories. You hold on to the what-ifs. You think maybe tomorrow they'll realize your value. But here's the truth, if they couldn't see it when you were right in front of them, chances are they won't see it after you've drained yourself dry. Your leaving may not change them, but it will change you. It will remind you that you're worth protecting. Strength isn't about how long you can suffer in silence. Strength is about knowing when enough is enough. It's about saying, I will not keep losing myself just to keep someone else comfortable. When you walk away, you're not running from love. You're running towards self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation for every healthy relationship you'll ever have. Here's the beautiful thing. When you walk away from what's not serving you, you create space for what is. You open the door for the kind of love that doesn't have to be chased, begged for, or questioned. You allow God, the universe, whatever you believe in, to bring someone into your life who doesn't just see your worth, but protects it, honors it, and celebrates it. So let me leave you with this. Don't ever let anyone convince you that walking away makes you weak. Weakness is staying in a place that's killing your joy. Strength is having the courage to choose yourself even when it hurts. And when you choose yourself, you set the stage for the kind of love that will never make you doubt your value again. Listen to me, real love should never feel like a chase. It should meet you where you are, not make you run yourself ragged trying to earn it. If somebody can't recognize your worth, if they keep treating you like an option while you treat them like a priority, you've got to stop running after them. That's not love, that's self-destruction. You were not put on this earth to beg for somebody's time, attention, or respect. You were made to be valued, to be cherished, to be loved without conditions. And the moment you stop chasing the wrong one, you give yourself a chance to be found by the right one. So hear me, good, stop chasing what doesn't chase you back. Stop pouring into cups that don't pour into you. Choose yourself, respect yourself, and love yourself enough to walk away from anything that makes you question your worth. Because when you do, that's when God, the universe, whatever you believe in, can finally align you with the kind of love that doesn't make you chase. It just shows up and stays. That's the love you deserve.